Paul, has the extra week helped, hindered? What's the situation in the last week?
I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? I have to say it's we feel a little overcooked waiting for the game, but we'll look back on hindsight, and if we win it, if we play well, if we have a good August, we'll say it helped us. If we don't, we'll say it hindered us. So, like a lot of things with football, you look back in hindsight and then discuss it. I just think we just have a simple, as always, actually going through a football season, it's always the next game, and I've made the point already that the first game of the season is always a little bit different because you have so long to wait for it. You have a 5 or 6 week plan for that first game. After the first game, every game after that is off the cuff. It's one after the other. You win, you lose, you react to it. You have injuries. You just sort of. So actually, the first game of the season is the anomaly. So we're pretty well versed in reacting to something and having a week or 2 or 3 days to get ourselves organised. So to be now playing our first game, no problem. We like the idea that it's at home. We start our League One campaign here, which is nice. Players are certainly ready to go, and we're looking to get a win, but taking nothing for granted.
You've brought in a lot of players, and you've had 1 or 2 injured players as well. How's the squad looking in general? You've had a lot of work to do with them this summer.
They're looking very good. We're streets ahead of where we were last year. But ultimately, in a game of football, it's about scoring more goals than the opposition. And your team can be in disarray, but you still manage to scrape a win. Your team can be in good nick, and you can lose one. So it'll still come down to whether we win or lose. But we look in good shape. We've got new players at the front end of the pitch, so there will be a period of time where I think our rhythm and our timing connection with the rest of the team will improve and develop. I don't think we'll be the finished article just yet, but we're in a good place. We've got strength in depth. We've got certainly lots of competition, and we've got an athletic squad. So how do we look at the moment? We look okay, but time will be the judge of that, and it'll come down to results.
The transfer window closes today for the Premier League and for the Championship, but you've got a little bit longer. Does that mean that after this period is when kind of loan players from those clubs that are sent out to clubs in League One and League Two potentially become available? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, by definition, when the window closes today at the top end of the football pyramid, there's then an added bonus for clubs in League One or League Two, and I see us as a reasonably attractive destination for loan players. We'll suddenly have, I think, a different market of players to look at. So we haven't been too rushed over the last week or two. It's a deadline today, but it's very different. We've recruited most of our squad, if not all of it, and really what comes next would be a bonus, would be something that comes out of a situation we weren't expecting, and we want to react to it. So we're in a nice position where we're not desperate for any players. We've got plenty of numbers, and now it'll just be down to something which sort of takes our fancy and really fits the bill. So after today, we've actually been looking forward to today being over and being in that position where it's now only League One and League Two clubs that are looking for loan players, and I think we're in a good position to attract a player or two if they're available.
Can this team make it to the Championship this season?
Yeah, why not? At the end of the year, we'll look back into the season. We'll look back and say there's 2 automatically promoted teams. There's 4, but only 1 has come through the playoffs. So 3 teams have been promoted. But for how long were there more than 3 teams really believing that they were able to get promoted? That might even go up to May. But certainly we'll get to Christmas time, and there'll be a dozen teams who seriously think that they've got a chance of at least the playoffs. And I think we should be in that bracket of a team where there's a dozen clubs all within a run of good games, or a striker that suddenly starts scoring goals, or a goalkeeper that's in form, away from putting a run together that gets you into a really good place. And I think we should be at least in that bracket. That should be our starting point. And the rest of it is then built bit by bit. It's built on the first 5 games, and I'd like to see how we are after 5 games. That's not set in stone of where we sit in this league, but it's a good indicator. And even if we don't win them, it gives me a chance to know where we need to adjust in order to win them. So I'm looking forward to that point. Hopefully have a point or two under our belt by then. But we're ambitious. We see no reason why not. We know there's a lot of work to do, but we also know there's plenty of other teams that think exactly the same.
What do you expect Shrewsbury to bring to Stadium MK?
Experience of League One over the last 2 or 3 years of both, a very, very productive season and also a season scrapping, and so they bring recent history of that experience, know what it's like to put a great season together, and also know what it's like to have to fight hard. A team that got a really good result last week against Portsmouth, a clean sheet and a 1-0 win. That's no mean feat. So well done them. Some good players, and a team who've just won 1 game and want to make it 2. So we'll do all our analysis on players and details, but ultimately it'll come down to the MK Dons players being at their best and taking the game to Shrewsbury.
What will we see in terms of some of the injured players? I mean, we've not seen an awful lot of Reece Healy or Bailey Cuggle or Alex Gilby in pre-season.
They're all slightly different in terms of their recovery, but all are pretty close to being available to be selected, if not quite enough to be a starter, maybe being on the bench. So the extra week in that respect has helped us. But Jordan Moore-Taylor was on the grass today, I saw, training, so he's not close yet. But the others are all back in a position where arguably, they are in contention.